से 7वीं 8वीं पास लड़कों को हमने पहले सिखाया। दाइयों को जो पूरी अनपढ़ थी उनके लिए हम लोगों ने ब्रेथ काउंटर नाम का एक इक्विपमेंट डिजाइन किया।
स्थानीय लोगों को प्रशिक्षित कर आरोग्य स्वराज की संकल्पना साकार करने में प्रयासरत।
गांव की महिलाओं को हमने चुना, उन्हें हम स्त्री आरोग्य दूत कहते हैं और उनको हमने ये सब चीजें सिखाई और उसका परिणाम ये हुआ कि 2 साल में हमारा शिशु मृत्यु दर 80 से 30 तक गया।
विश्व भर में अपने सामुदायिक स्वास्थ्य कार्यों के लिए प्रसिद्ध डॉक्टर रानी बंग से होंगे रूबरू। कार्यक्रम तेजस्विनी में।
A million birds and 100,000 marine creatures die every year due to consumption of plastic. There's about 5 trillion pieces of plastic floating in the ocean. And even though I was in 4th grade, I knew that I really had to do something about this problem. If we were to take all the plastic from the ocean surface and pile it up, do you know how far it would go? It would be enough to stack it up from here to the moon and back. Twice. The ice will see multiple units of aerials trying to clean up the waste that plagues our oceans and sucking all the damage that we have done to the marine ecosystem. Hi, this is Hazik Razi. Watch me in Conversation with only on Doordarshan.
कोरोना का जो संक्रमण का काल है, इसमें चारों ओर अगर हम देखें तो बात होती है इम्यूनिटी की। किस तरह से प्रतिरोधक क्षमता को बढ़ाया जाए।
जो हमारी इम्यूनिटी है उसको बढ़ाने में जो हमारे प्राणायाम है वो सबसे ज्यादा महत्वपूर्ण होते हैं। और खासतौर से पुराने समय के ऋषियों ने हमको 2 चीजें दी, ओंकार ध्वनि और शंकर ध्वनि। ये 2 ध्वनि वो हैं जो हमारी तो इम्यूनिटी बढ़ाते हैं, वो हमारे आसपास भी पूरी तरह से प्रदूषण मुक्त वातावरण बनाते हैं और पॉजिटिविटी को भी बढ़ाते हैं।
Hello and welcome to Midday Prime. Over the next 1 hour, we'll bring you all the stories and updates from India and the world. We will update you about the happenings in the world of business and sports, and we'll get you some interesting stories that are making headlines. Our top focus is on clinical trials of Covaxin in children, with the screening process having started in AIIMS Delhi for the 6 to 12 age group. All eyes are also on the Biden-Putin summit in Geneva. That and more in this edition of Midday Prime. First up, the big news at this hour. AIIMS Delhi starts recruitment for Covaxin trials on children in the age group of 6 to 12 from today. Trial on children already started at AIIMS Patna to see if the Bharat Biotech jab is suitable for children. 25.9 crore vaccine doses administered across the country so far. India reports 60,471 daily new cases in the last 24 hours, lowest after 75 days. Active caseload also declines to 9.13 lakh. Daily recoveries continue to outnumber the daily new cases for the 33rd consecutive day. Over 26.69 crore vaccine doses provided to states and union territories. Parliament Standing Committee on Information Technology summons representatives of Twitter on the 18th of June to discuss the issue of protecting the rights of citizens and preventing misuse of social media, as well as the issue of women's safety in the digital space. Grateful Nation remembers fallen soldiers at the Galwan Valley on the first anniversary of their martyrdom. Chief of Army Staff General M.M. Naravane and all ranks of the army pay tribute to the martyrs. All eyes on the meeting between President Joe Biden and Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin to be held in Geneva tomorrow. Putin expresses hope that bilateral relations between the two countries will improve with this meeting. And in sports, Euro 2020's Group of Death or Group F competitions begin today. World champions France and Germany will be face to face, while the defending champion Portugal will face Hungary's challenge. And let's now begin the show with the big news. Recruitment for clinical trial of Covaxin among children in the age group of 6 to 12 years began at AIIMS New Delhi today. The vaccine trial screening process will continue for 2 days. The clinical trials of children of the 2 to 6 age group will start after that. Earlier, the screening of children for the trial of single-dose Covaxin in the 2 to 18 age group started at AIIMS New Delhi on 7th June and is over. Professor at the Center for Community Medicine at AIIMS Delhi, Dr. Sanjay Rai, has said that it would be too early to tell exactly when will the vaccine be ready. It takes around 9 to 12 months to successfully conduct a trial of the vaccine. However, emergency approval is expected in the next 2 to 3 months.
हमने अभी जस्ट फिनिश किया था रिक्रूटमेंट 12 से 18 साल के बीच में उनका रिक्रूटमेंट ओवर चुका है। अब जो है दूसरे क्रम में जो है 6 से 12 साल के बीच में और उसके बाद 2 से 6 साल के बीच में बच्चों को बुलाया जाएगा। तो आज जो है 6 से 12 साल का स्क्रीनिंग चल रही है। जो भी हेल्दी वॉलंटियर्स होंगे उनका जो है फिर हम जो है वैक्सीन देने का नेक्स्ट कार्यक्रम करेंगे। अभी जो है जो टेस्ट होने हैं वो हो रहे हैं, तो आज तो स्क्रीनिंग का टाइम है। ये जो है डेटा सेफ्टी मॉनिटरिंग बोर्ड और रेगुलेटरी अथॉरिटी उसको डेटा को देखने के बाद वो सेटिस्फाइड हो जाते हैं कि नेक्स्ट ग्रुप को किया जा सकता है, तो उसका परमिशन देते हैं। एक तरीके से इनडायरेक्ट हिंट है, बट डेटा तो हम तभी शेयर कर सकते हैं जब पब्लिक डोमेन में आ जाएगा। अभी कंप्लीट डेटा को नहीं शेयर किया जा सकता।
Parents who want their children to participate in the trials may send a message on the WhatsApp number 7428847499. They can also email on ctaims, that is ctaims.covid19@gmail.com. Father of one of the candidates said that he is hopeful that the trial will be successful and children will be able to resume the session from next year. Listen in.
होपफुली अगर ये ट्रायल सक्सेस होगा, जहाँ तक मुझे लग रहा है होगा, ट्रायल सक्सेस भी होगा और वैक्सीनेशन शुरू हो जाएंगे, तो शायद नेक्स्ट सेशन से स्कूल्स हम एक्सपेक्ट कर सकते हैं कि खुल जाएंगे।
Our correspondent Tapas Bhattacharya now joins us for more on this. Tapas, the screening process will take place over 2 days in the 6 to 12 age group of Covaxin in AIIMS Delhi. How is it likely to pan out after that?
What we've been told is that the screening is basically about understanding whether they have any antibodies or not. They have got contracted COVID or not, and other health parameters. There will be the screening will take place about that, and then they will be provided with the, if they clear those, they will be provided with the first dosage of the Covaxin. Now remember, the 12 to 18 year age category has already, the screening has already taken place. The vaccination of them has already started in terms of the clinical trial mode for the phase 2 and the phase 3. Now after this particular age category of 6 to 12, there will be a category of 2 to 6 years that will be done next week. Now these are some after the vaccination will be provided, they will be monitored. They will be the data will be crunched, and they will be they will try to understand whether or not this particular Covaxin is safe for the under 18 age category or not. Now, generally, it takes almost close to a year to validate the data and the trial. But considering the situation currently, we believe that in a matter of 3 months, if the data is positive and if it is it meets the criteria set by the Director General Drugs Control as well as the Health Ministry, we may find that in the next 3 months they will be given the go-ahead to provide a vaccination to under 18 age category.
Right, Tapas, so you are telling us that in a matter of 2 to 3 months, we expect data with regard to safety, immunogenicity and efficacy of Covaxin, where the trials are taking place in children, and after that we expect an emergency use authorization.
That's right.
In a matter of 2 to 3 months.
If there definitely will be a lot of permutation and combination that will be working on, but if the data comes out in positive manner and meets the criteria set forth by the DCGI as well as the Health Ministry, one will hope that the emergency authorization will be provided. Remember, so far the Government of India has spoken about the need to vaccinate everybody by the end of the year, and the only age category that is missing is under 18, and thus this particular Bharat Biotech's Covaxin's trial in the under 18 category becomes even more important, and it is expected that if the data comes out positive, that the emergency approval authorization will be provided in a matter of 3 months. Though there's still a long way to go. It's the vaccination and the clinical trial is going on in AIIMS Patna as well as in Delhi and other places, but and thus it will take some time before we get the data, and once the data comes out, and then only it will be possible to predict whether or not it will meet the stringent criteria norms set by the Government of India.
Right, and the process for the 2 to 6 age group, I understand, is yet to begin. Thank you, Tapas, for having joined us with those updates.
Okay.
Well, India continues to witness a decline in new daily COVID-19 cases. The country reported 60,471 new cases in the last 24 hours, lowest after 75 days. Active caseload declined to 9,13,378. Daily recoveries continue to outnumber the daily new cases for the 33rd consecutive day. As many as 1,17,525 patients have recovered during the last 24 hours. So far, a total of 2,82,80,472 patients have recovered across the country. The country's recovery rate increased to 95.64%. Weekly positivity rate dropped to less than 5% and is currently at 4.39%. Daily positivity rate is now at 3.45%, less than 5% for the 8th consecutive day. India also continues to cross milestones as far as the vaccination drive is concerned. 25.9 crore vaccine doses have been administered so far under the nationwide vaccination drive. Out of this, more than 39.27 lakh people were vaccinated in the last 24 hours. The central government continues to provide COVID vaccines through free-of-cost channel and through direct state procurement category to states and union territories. In total, over 26.69 crore vaccine doses have been provided to states and UTs so far. Of this, the total consumption including wastages is around 25.67 crore. Over 1.05 crore vaccine doses of COVID-19 are still available with states and union territories to be administered. Furthermore, over 47.43 lakh vaccine doses are in the pipeline and will be received by states and UTs within the next 3 days. Vaccination is an integral pillar of the comprehensive strategy for containment and management of COVID pandemic. As part of the drive, vaccination camps are being organized in various ministries of the government so that employees and their family members can get inoculated. Department of Personnel and Training is also organizing such camps successfully.
नॉर्थ ब्लॉक में डीओपीटी के विभाग को लेकर के उनके कर्मचारियों के लिए एक्सक्लूसिवली एक शिविर लगाया गया है ताकि उनको और उनके परिवारों को सुविधा रहे, कहीं और जाने के बजाय वो यहाँ आकर के बड़े आराम से सुविधा से इसका उपयोग कर सके और साथ ही साथ उस वैक्सीनेशन को लेकर के जो थोड़ी बहुत जागरूकता अथवा जानकारी है वो भी उनको देने का प्रयास किया जाता है। यहाँ डॉक्टरों की भी टीम है, नर्सिंग ऑफिसर्स की टीम है और डीओपीटी के अधिकारी भी सहयोग करते हैं।
A special vaccine center has been set up for people travelling abroad for work and studies and also for athletes, sports persons and accompanying staff of the Indian contingent to Tokyo Olympics in a school at Mandir Marg in New Delhi. Our correspondent Meghna Dev brings us more.
An exclusive vaccination center has been set up at Mandir Marg here at a school in Delhi, wherein people who want to go abroad for employment purposes or for educational purposes can come and get themselves vaccinated.
I'm going to UK for my employment and I have my visa and job offer already with me. First dose vaccination certificate and ID proof.
I work in Ireland, so I have to go back and join my work there. I have got my job offer letter just to prove that I work there and my work permit and all of that.
I'll be joining my consulate there, Ministry of External Affairs. And the reason why I want this is because otherwise there's quarantine, institutional quarantine. So this helps reduce that time and I can join my duty much sooner. Everything has been informed on the website. So even I've got my visa, my passport and my transponders.
I am a student, I'm flying to Canada. So I have got around 35 days I've been over for my vaccination. Although things will be done. Getting it done there, it's better that we should get it done in India. I have got all the documents with me. I am carrying a lot of documents so that I don't get stuck.
For more on how the vaccination center here is being managed, we have Mr. Anand with us, who is the nodal officer. Sir, I would like to know what all arrangements have been made here, because here the verification process is quite different from other vaccination centers. So how are you coping up with it?
Every person should have one document which should prove that the person going out is for these three reasons. Whether it is for education, if it's for education, he has to have a letter from the college, admission letter, or that he has to reach there before the 31st of August. The classes would be beginning. Or if he was a student already there and he had the next semester is starting, same ways for jobs, there has to be an appointment letter that the person has to join the job before 31st of August. Or even if somebody has an interview abroad, if it's not an online interview and the person has to appear personally for the interview, he has to have the letter, that interview call letter. That is sufficient. The third is Olympics. Then again, there's a letter that that person is going for Olympic work, whether contingent or Olympic related, then that letter is issued by the Ministry of Sports. That letter has to be there. The genuineness of the documents is to be verified.
Per day, how many vaccines are being given here?
200 doses per day for people above 18 to 44. And then 45 plus we have another category. There also we have around 100 slots, whosoever comes. So overall we have around 300 slots.
The people who want to go abroad can get their vaccine jabs easily and faster. With camera person Kuldeep Sharma, this is Meghna Dev, DD India, New Delhi.
Meanwhile, testing for COVID-19 continues in the country. As per the Indian Council of Medical Research, a total of 38,13,75,984 samples have been tested across the country so far. On Monday, as many as 17,51,358 samples were tested. Himachal Pradesh government has issued a travel advisory for tourists visiting the state as the government relaxed curbs in view of drop in COVID-19 cases. Himachal Pradesh Chief Minister Jairam Thakur said that people visiting the state will have to register online and apply for a COVID e-pass. Hoteliers have been directed to strictly follow the SOPs issued by the state government. Further, state police has advised tourists to wear masks, practice social distancing and follow COVID-related guidelines issued by the state government. Police warned the tourists that first-time offenders would be fined 500 rupees, while repeat offenders may be arrested and sent to court, and they may face up to 8 days imprisonment or fine of rupees 5,000 or both. Tourists rushed to the hill state as soon as the state government eased travel restrictions. During the last 36 hours, approximately 5,000 vehicles entered Shimla city. And now our correspondent Nandini joins us with more on this. Nandini, is it advisable or mandatory for tourists wanting to visit Himachal Pradesh to register online and apply for an e-COVID pass?
Good afternoon, Munmun. The weather in throughout Himachal is very pleasant these days. So lots of tourists are coming to Himachal Pradesh to enjoy the weather. After the unlock has been announced by Himachal government, it has been observed that thousands of tourists are rushing to Himachal Pradesh to get relief from the scorching heat in the plains. So that as per the data collected by the administration, around 9,000 vehicles has entered Himachal Pradesh in the past 2 days. The government is keeping watch on all this this happening, and have issued advisory to the tourists to follow the protocols, so that Himachal may not have to face the consequences of third wave.
Right, you're saying it's an advisory that has been issued for tourists wanting to visit Himachal Pradesh, considering the change in weather, and we are aware of the kind of traffic snarls that were there in the border areas of Himachal Pradesh, with many tourists making a beeline for Himachal Pradesh with COVID restrictions having been relaxed. Having said that, will any violation of COVID appropriate behavior be monitored, and will strict action be taken against violators?
Yes, as you said that police has already issued advisory to all the people, including tourists, that if first time they are caught without a face mask, then 500 rupees will be challaned, and if this thing happens again and again, then they will be fined around 5,000 rupees. Not only this, they have said that warned the tourists that they can be imprisoned, put to imprison for 8 days in case they don't follow the protocol issued by the state government. Meanwhile, this coming of tourists are being welcomed also by the hoteliers and the tourism industry in Himachal Pradesh, because being Himachal being a tourist state, this industry was badly hampered and badly affected by the lockdown announced last year also and this year also. But people are welcoming Himachal, but they have to follow the advisory, and police is keeping a vigil watch on all the activities of tourists as well as the local people in Himachal.
Right. Thank you, Nandini, for joining us with those updates. Well, Bihar has been registering a sharp decline in COVID-19 cases since last month, and the first phase of unlock process ended today. The new guidelines of Unlock 2, which will start from tomorrow, will remain in force till the 22nd of June. All government and non-government offices will open till 5 p.m. with 50% attendance. Shops and establishments will be allowed to open from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. 1 hour relaxation has been given for night curfew, which will be in place from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. It was earlier from 7 p.m.
उपस्थिति के साथ 5 बजे अपराह्न तक खुलेंगे। सरकारी कार्यालयों में आगंतुकों का प्रवेश वर्जित होगा। इसमें अंतर बस ये हो रहा है कि पूर्व में समय सीमा 4 बजे अपराह्न तक थी और इस बार 5 बजे अपराह्न तक रहेगा। दूसरा है कि सभी दुकानें एवं प्रतिष्ठान एक दिन बीच कर ऑल्टरनेट डेज पर प्रातः 6 बजे से 6 बजे संध्या तक खुल सकेंगे। तीसरा है उर्वरक, बीज, कीटनाशक और कृषि यंत्रों से संबंधित प्रतिष्ठान, दुकानें, आवश्यक खाद्य सामग्री तथा फल एवं सब्जी प्रतिदिन प्रातः 6 बजे से 6 बजे संध्या तक खुलेंगी। रात्रि कर्फ्यू अब 8 बजे संध्या से प्रातः 5 बजे तक लगेगा, जो कि पूर्व में 7 बजे संध्या से सवेरे 5 बजे तक था। यदि किसी स्थान, बाजार, प्रतिष्ठान में निरंतर निर्देशों के उपरांत भी इनका अनुपालन नहीं किया जा रहा हो तो अस्थायी रूप से बंद करने के साथ अन्य सख्त कार्रवाई भी की जाएगी।
And our correspondent Salman Haider now joins us with more updates. Salman, Unlock 2 kicks off in Bihar tomorrow and it will remain in place till the 22nd of June. Will a call be taken later on relaxations after the 22nd of June?
Pardon, I could not get you. Can you repeat, please?
Yes, Salman, I was saying that for about 1 week, Unlock 2 will remain in place in Bihar. Will a call on further relaxations be taken later?
Yes, yes. The Chief Secretary already said in his meeting that the unlock, we can't open suddenly because things are easing out, and the relaxation will be given in parts. So for this 1 week, we are relaxing a bit, an hour in everything, like the shops will remain open up to 6. Earlier it was 5. So they will give relaxation in stepwise. Yes, and moreover, the cases are now have gone down very much, and recovery rate has gone up to 98.01%. So the things are going on smoothly, and now the strict implementation of the Unlock 2 will be implemented, as the Chief Secretary said. So the things are easing out, and people are coming out for their daily chores, and also the shops are allowed to open. The types of shop has been earmarked, which shop will open on what day. So a type of odd and even has been given to them. Likewise, the attendance in the offices, no outsider will be allowed. So these are the things are being relaxed slowly. Yes, ma'am.
Right, Salman. Thank you for those updates. Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan will meet Prime Minister Narendra Modi tomorrow. He will inform the Prime Minister about the steps taken by his government in controlling coronavirus infection in the state and the vaccination status. He will also inform him about future strategies in this regard, besides holding a discussion on other issues. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath today flagged off free medicine distribution vehicles for children below 18 years showing symptoms of COVID-19. Speaking at the event, the Chief Minister said that his government will ensure distribution of medicines by reaching each monitoring committee of the state.
तक के बच्चों के लिए भी हम अब मेडिसिन किट हर जनपद में उपलब्ध कराएंगे और हमारी निगरानी समितियां गांव-गांव में जाकर के इस मेडिसिन किट को वितरित करने का कार्य करेंगी। आज इसी कार्यक्रम का शुभारंभ हो रहा है। 4 चरणों में इस पूरी प्रक्रिया को विभाजित करते हुए 4 प्रकार के पैकेट हर एक निगरानी समिति तक पहुंचाने का कार्य किया जा रहा है। आज इस कार्यक्रम का शुभारंभ यहां पर हो रहा है। मैं स्वास्थ्य विभाग को, मेडिकल कॉर्पोरेशन को इस बात के लिए हृदय से धन्यवाद दूंगा। एक समयबद्ध तरीके से उनके द्वारा जो कार्यक्रम आगे बढ़ाया जा रहा है, थर्ड वेव को आने से पहले ही हम नियंत्रित करने में सफल होंगे।
In West Bengal, restrictions have been extended in view of the COVID-19 situation in the state till the 1st of July. However, additional relaxations will be allowed. Announcing the extension, Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee said that all government offices will function with 25% strength. She also said that night curfew in the state will prevail from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. and all non-essential movement of people will be restricted. E-passes will be required for travel. Parks can open from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. for morning walks. However, only those who have taken COVID vaccine will be allowed entry inside the parks. All markets have been allowed to remain open between 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. and other retail shops can remain open between 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Let's now move on to our developing story. The Parliamentary Standing Committee for Information and Technology has summoned Twitter officials. They have been asked to appear before the panel in Parliament Complex on the 18th of June at 4 p.m. and give a representation on how to prevent misuse of social media and online news. Parliamentary panel would hear the views of representatives of Twitter, followed by evidence of representatives of Ministry of Electronics and IT on the subject safeguarding citizens' rights and prevention of misuse of social or online news media platforms, including special emphasis on women's security in the digital space. Let's now move on to national crime. Chief of Army Staff General M.M. Naravane and all ranks of Indian Army today paid homage to the brave hearts who made the supreme sacrifice in the Galwan Valley in Ladakh while defending the territorial integrity and sovereignty of the country. In the face of unprecedented Chinese aggression, 20 Indian soldiers laid down their lives defending our land and inflicted heavy casualties on the PLA. Their valor will be eternally etched in the memory of the nation. In a solemn ceremony, Fire and Fury Corps COS Major General Akash Kaushik laid a wreath at the iconic war memorial in Leh. The nation will remain eternally grateful to these gallant soldiers who fought in the most difficult high-altitude terrain and made the supreme sacrifice in service of the nation. The Army has validated the efficacy of the dedicated freight corridor for military movement by conducting a successful trial run of a military train loaded with vehicles and equipment from New Rewari in Haryana to New Fulera in Rajasthan. The trial was conducted yesterday. These trials were part of the whole of the nation approach for optimizing national resources and achieve seamless synergy among various ministries and departments. This initiative would set in place processes to ensure that military requirements are dovetailed in the national infrastructure development at the planning stage itself. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar today met Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs of Qatar, Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman Al Thani, in Doha. During the meeting, the EAM appreciated Qatar's solidarity during the COVID second wave. He informed that the two sides discussed bilateral cooperation and exchanged views on regional issues. This is Jaishankar's second visit to Qatar in a week. He met Qatari National Security Advisor last Wednesday. The Supreme Court has today directed closure of all criminal proceedings against the two Italian Marines who were accused of shooting dead two Indian fishermen off the Kerala coast in 2012. The Apex Court termed the 10 crore rupees compensation paid by the Republic of Italy over and above the payment already made as reasonable and adequate. It said that of the 10 crore rupees compensation, 4 crore rupees each shall be deposited in the name of heirs of the two deceased Kerala fishermen and 2 crore shall be given to the owner of the boat. The International Tribunal had earlier said that legal proceedings against both the Marines could continue in Italy and that India has no jurisdiction to launch criminal prosecution against the Marines as they had sovereign immunity. The central government had also urged the top court to quash the pending cases after the decision of the tribunal. The Supreme Court has asked the centre and the Kerala government to hand over the documents of the case to Italy, and the government of Republic of Italy should resume its trials against the Marines at the earliest. In February 2012, India had accused the two Marines on board the MV Enrica Lexi, an Italian-flagged oil tanker, of killing two Indian fishermen who were on a fishing vessel in India's exclusive economic zone. National award-winning actor Sanchari Vijay, aged 32, breathed his last on Monday. Vijay had been in a critical condition since his road accident on Saturday. Earlier on Monday, he was declared brain dead and his family had decided to donate his organs. Thousands of people paid their last respects to the actor as his body was kept at Ravindra Kala Kshetra in Bengaluru. Karnataka Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa extended his condolences to Sanchari Vijay's family. He said the final rites of National Award-winning actor will be held with police honours. He also thanked his family members who came forward to donate the organs. Sanchari Vijay has worked in Tamil, Telugu and Hindi films. His performance as a transgender person in the critically acclaimed movie Nanu Avanella Avalu got him a national award. Vijay will also be remembered for his social works. The organ transplant was done successfully by doctors. Heart valve, liver, kidneys and cornea were donated by Sanchari Vijay's family, giving life to the needy. And in Midday Prime, it's time now for news and updates from the world of business. And my colleague Tanvi is joining us, I understand, with Business Prime.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will deliver the keynote address at the 5th edition of Viva Tech tomorrow. The Prime Minister has been invited as a guest of honor to deliver the keynote address at the Viva Tech 2021. Viva Tech is one of the largest digital and startup events in Europe, held in Paris every year since 2016. It is jointly organized by the Publicis Group, a prominent advertising and marketing conglomerate, and Les Ecos, a leading French media group. It brings together stakeholders in technology innovation and the startup ecosystem and includes exhibitions, awards, panel discussions and startup contests. The 5th edition of Viva Tech is scheduled to be held between the 16th and 19th of June. And now to update you on the domestic stock market news. Well, the Sensex and the Nifty hit fresh intraday record highs on Tuesday. So the Sensex at the BSE hit a record intraday high of 52,870. Later, the Sensex eased slightly but was still up 274 points or 0.5% to 52,826 in afternoon deals a short while ago. Similarly, the Nifty at the National Stock Exchange hit a lifetime intraday high of 15,902. Later, the Nifty was up 79 points or 0.5% at 15,891. In the broader market, the BSE mid-cap and small-cap indices had gained 0.7% each. The top index gainers today are Asian Paints, ONGC, Axis Bank and IndusInd Bank, with gains of between 1.6% and 2.6%. The top index losers today are Divi's Lab, Coal India, Bajaj Finserv and Cipla, with losses of between 0.7% and 1.5%. And moving on to other key Asian markets. Well, in other key Asian markets, shares were mixed on Tuesday ahead of a much anticipated US Federal Reserve or central bank, US's central bank policy meeting, which investors are watching for hints of any change in US monetary policy outlook. We'll have to track that as well. So MSCI's broadest index of Asia Pacific shares outside Japan was flat. Japan's Nikkei 225 index rose 1.1% and South Korea's KOSPI index added 0.2%. But Chinese blue chips fell 1%. Moving on, back home, the FASTag electronic toll collection system became operational on the Yamuna Expressway connecting Noida and Agra from today onwards. Earlier, it was supposed to start on April 1st. The FASTag implementation will help in reducing long queues at the toll plazas along the Yamuna Expressway. The electronic toll collection system has already been implemented on all national highways which are maintained by the National Highways Authority of India, NHAI. Since Yamuna Expressway does not fall under the NHAI's jurisdiction, it so far has had cash counters installed at the toll plazas only. And lastly, let's tell you how the global energy market is doing. Global crude oil prices rose on Tuesday as the prospect of extra supply soon coming into the market from Iran faded, with talks dragging on the United States rejoining the nuclear agreement with Tehran. Well, these talks have been on in Vienna since Saturday. So Gaining for the fourth consecutive session, Brent crude was up 38 cents or 0.5% at $73.24 a barrel. US crude gained 33 cents or 0.5% to $71.21 a barrel. So with that, it's a wrap on Business Prime for now. Back to you, Munmun.
Thanks, Tanvi, for that. And now let's have a look at what's making news across the globe. Joe Biden has said that he would lay down red lines to his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin at the upcoming meeting tomorrow in Geneva after rallying NATO allies to face up to challenges from Moscow and Beijing. Biden also called Putin tough and a worthy adversary ahead of their hotly anticipated meeting in Geneva tomorrow.
I'm going to make clear to President Putin that there are areas where we can cooperate if he chooses. And if he chooses not to cooperate and acts in a way that he has in the past relative to cybersecurity and some other activities, then we will respond. We will respond in kind. There need not be. We should decide where it's in our mutual interest, in the interest of the world, to cooperate and see if we can do that. And the areas where we don't agree, make it clear what the red lines are.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has said he is open to a dialogue on a range of issues with the US president. In an interview, Putin said that while relations with the US were at the lowest point in recent years, there were areas of cooperation that would benefit both countries.
We have a bilateral relationship that have deteriorated to what is the lowest point in recent years. However, there are still matters that need a certain amount of note, comparing, and identification and determination of mutual positions so that issues of mutual interest can be solved more effectively to the benefit of both the United States and Russia.
And for more, our correspondent Amrit Pal joins us. Amrit, in the backdrop of a hard-hitting NATO communique criticizing Russia's actions and asking Russia to change course, and Joe Biden saying that he will be laying down red lines to Putin, in fact, what are the things that one can watch out for?
One thing one has to understand that the relations between the two countries are at the lowest ebb. They are frosty, and it is in these conditions that the two leaders are meeting. In fact, it's raised eyebrows that given the statements emanating before the meeting, which do not augur very well for a positive meeting, the two leaders are still holding on and, a meeting in Geneva. The issues, there are myriad issues like the spate of cyber attacks emanating from Russia, the Putin's military adventurism alongside his country's border with Ukraine, his imprisonment of opposition leader Alexei Navalny and other, U.S. nationals in Russian prisons, which U.S. says is on trumped-up charges, climate change, Middle East. These things can come up, but the bigger question is that are the two countries or are the two leaders at a level of trust which is required for any forward movement? Now that's the big question. What is emanating before the meeting, the kind of posturing that happened both at the G7 and at NATO, does that augur well for Russia, who was clearly, marked as a foe of the Western or the transatlantic alliance, who needs to be reined in? So what effect will that have on Russia? What will be President Putin's position? Other indicators like the White House has announced there will be no joint press conference after the meeting, which basically the logic of the Americans is that they do not wish to raise President Putin's stature to that of the U.S. president. The two leaders are not meeting one-on-one, unlike when Donald Trump had met Putin for 2 hours without even note takers. So there cannot be any political breakthrough. And also the voices coming out of Russia, like President Putin saying that don't expect any breakthroughs at this meeting. So that doesn't augur well for forward movement. But given the fact that the two leaders are meeting, I think they're trying to do their bit or be seen as doing their bit to arrest the free fall in relationship that has been witnessed over since especially President Biden took over.
So while this meeting comes in the backdrop of a lot of acrimony between Russia and the US, we've also heard Putin talk about potential cooperation between Russia and the United States. So can we expect both sides to try and talk about how they can manage and map out a difficult relationship over the next 4 years?
Exactly. It is just that, as you said, managing a difficult relationship. That is what the most you can expect if things go well. As President Putin has said, that there are areas that they can cooperate in, but he's approached it with a lot of skepticism and added a lot of riders to it. Look at President Biden's statement. He said, I'm going to make it clear that there are areas we can cooperate if he chooses. If he chooses not to cooperate, then we can act and respond. Then we will act and we'll respond, and we'll respond in kind. So there are riders to these. So I think basically the two leaders would be meeting and admitting that these are areas they need to work upon, and then it will be going back and waiting and watching how the other side responds. This is what is expected to transpire at the meeting.
Right, so all eyes will be on that meeting in Geneva tomorrow. Thank you so much, Amrit, for having joined us with those details. Meanwhile, NATO leaders meeting for a summit in Brussels have warned of the military threat posed by China, saying its behavior is a systemic challenge. China, they said, was rapidly expanding its nuclear arsenal, and that arsenal was opaque. Also, China is opaque about its military modernization and was cooperating militarily with Russia. NATO chief Jens Stoltenberg warned that China was coming closer to NATO in military and technological terms, but he stressed the alliance did not want a new Cold War with China. NATO is a powerful political and military alliance between 30 European and North American countries. It was established after World War II in response to the threat of communist expansion.
Influence and international policies presents challenges to alliance security. Leaders agreed that we need to address such challenges together as an alliance, and that we need to engage with China to defend our security interests. We are concerned by China's coercive policies, which stand in contrast to the fundamental values enshrined in the Washington Treaty. China is rapidly expanding its nuclear arsenal with more warheads and a larger number of sophisticated delivery systems. NATO leaders called on China to uphold its international commitments and to act responsibly in the international system, including in space, cyber, and maritime domains, in keeping with its role as a major power.
Let's now take a look at COVID-19 updates from across the world. More than 17.7 crore people across the globe have tested positive for COVID-19, while the number of recoveries stand above 16 crore 12 lakh. Deaths due to COVID have so far claimed over 38 lakh 27,000 lives worldwide. The US continues to have the highest number of COVID cases and deaths. More than 3 crore 43 lakh cases have been registered by the country so far. The deadly virus has claimed lives of 6 lakh 15,000 people in the United States. In US, the total deaths due to COVID-19 has hit 6 lakh. Amid rising deaths, President Joe Biden called on Americans not to let their guard down and get vaccinated. He affirmed that the country has adequate vaccines and plenty of sites. Notably, the US continues to report maximum number of deaths and positive cases due to COVID-19.
There's still too many lives being lost. We're still averaging the last 7 days loss of 370 deaths per day. 370 deaths. That's significantly lower than at the peak of this crisis, but it's still a real tragedy. We're approaching a sad milestone. Almost 600,000 lost lives because of COVID-19 in America. If you've not been vaccinated, get vaccinated. Get vaccinated as soon as possible. We have plenty vaccination, plenty of sites.
Britain's Prime Minister Boris Johnson on Monday delayed plans to lift COVID-19 lockdown restrictions by a month until 19th of July. Rules on the face masks use, limiting the number of people who can meet indoors and out, and shutting nightclubs and similar venues were due to be lifted on the 21st of June. Johnson said the extra time would be used to speed up Britain's vaccination program. The situation would be reviewed on the 28th of June. Deaths due to COVID in the UK have neared 128,000 since the start of the pandemic.
Position every day, and if after 2 weeks we have concluded that the risk has diminished, then we reserve the possibility of proceeding to step 4 and a full opening sooner. As things stand, and on the evidence that I can see right now, I'm confident that we will not need more than 4 weeks, and we won't need to go beyond July the 19th. It's unmistakably clear the vaccines are working, and the sheer scale of the vaccine rollout has made our position incomparably better than in previous waves. But now is the time to ease off the accelerator, because by being cautious now, we have the chance in the next 4 weeks to save many thousands of lives by vaccinating millions more people.
The World Health Organization's Director General on Monday welcomed the Group of Seven's weekend pledge of 870 million COVID-19 vaccine doses, but said that many more are needed and quickly. Africa will get priority treatment for the Group of Seven's pledged 870 million doses of COVID-19 vaccine. WHO Senior Advisor Bruce Alward said a map on the WHO COVID dashboard or any other site shows that Africa is one of the most vulnerable, underserved, and therefore priority should be given to the continent.
I welcome the support expressed by the G7 for WHO, the ACT Accelerator, and the idea of a treaty on pandemic preparedness and response. And I welcome the announcement that G7 countries will donate 870 million vaccine doses, primarily through COVAX. This is a big help, but we need more, and we need them faster.
Cuba has extended its trials for homegrown inoculation program to the young. As many as 25 children between the age group of 12 to 18 started to participate in trials for the vaccine known as Subarena 2, being conducted at the Juan Manuel Marquez Hospital in Havana. Cuba has been working on 5 homegrown vaccine candidates which, if proven effective, could improve access to inoculations across Latin America. And it's time for all the sports action now. My colleague Suchitra joins us with Sports Prime.
Some updates. Will begin the European Championship defense when they face Hungary in Budapest tonight. Cristiano Ronaldo and Pepe are again among the squad for Portugal, who won Euro 2016. Group F is being called the Group of Death, as it also contains world champions France and former winners Germany. In second match, world champion France will face Germany's strong challenge. The French team is full of star players. France has world-famous strikers like Kylian Mbappe, Griezmann, Karim Benzema and Oliver Giroud. Germany, on the other hand, has a great mix of young and experienced players. Timo Werner, Kai Havertz, along with players like Toni Kroos, Larry Sané and Serge Gnabry can prove to be dangerous for France. French team is invincible from the last 5 matches against Germany. Spain wasted numerous chances in a dominant but disappointing display as the end result didn't go their way in the goalless draw they played out against Sweden in the Group E last night. The Spaniards outclassed Sweden in possession and Alvaro Morata fired a great chance just wide, but it was the visitors that came closest to scoring as Alexander Isak's shot was deflected onto a post by Marcos Llorente just before half-time. The second half had even less in the way of creative attacking football as the Swedes did their best to run the clock down. Defender Milan Skriniar fired Slovakia to a 2-1 victory over neighbours Poland on Monday in their opening game at Euro 2020 at St. Petersburg. The 26-year-old centre-back netted with a superb 69th minute shot after Poland had midfielder Krychowiak sent off in the 62nd minute for a second yellow card. Slovakia took an 18th minute lead out of the blue through an own goal by Poland goalkeeper before Karol Linety equalized in the 46th minute. Slovakia, who reached the last 16 on the European Championship debut 5 years ago, will play Sweden next in Group E on Friday, while Poland go to Sevilla to face Spain the following day. Scotland opened their first major tournament match in 23 years with a 2-0 defeat to Czech Republic at Euro 2020. Patrick Schick scored twice, including a wonder goal from near midfield. Bayer Leverkusen striker Schick's header in 42nd minute put the Czechs in front before he scored an outrageous second goal from all of 50 yards out. This was the Czechs' first win against Scotland since October 2010, ending a run of 1 draw and 3 defeats. Scotland next face England at Wembley on Friday, while Czech Republic take on Croatia on the same day. On to Copa America now. Argentina's Lionel Messi scored one of his trademark free kicks in the first half, but Eduardo Vargas equalized for Chile to leave honours even at 1-1 in their Copa America tie. Messi curled a superb free kick into the corner after 33 minutes. Chile equalized in 13 minutes into the second half. Argentina legend Maradona was remembered with the dazzling light and effects displayed before this match. So those were some sports updates. Back to you, Munmul.
Thanks, Suchitra, for that. And with that, we come to the close of this edition of Midday Prime. Do remember to practice COVID-appropriate behavior. Keep your masks on whenever you venture out of your homes or even inside homes when there are people around. Keep using your hand sanitizers frequently. Maintain social distancing, and ideally 6 to 10 feet gap should be there between you and another person next to you. So keep all that in mind. Stay healthy, stay safe. Namaskar.